regarding the global economic and the U.S. economic right now. When you look at it, I know you cannot comment on the election. We are in election year. But when you look at what is going on around the world, what gives you concern? What are some of the things that keep you awake at night as a federal official?
Sure. So what keeps me awake at night is that the economic equation that people have come to expect is being disrupted, right? And whether that's because there's geopolitical concerns or high inflation or just differences in how goods and services migrate, people feel like they don't know how they fit in the economy. And that is something we have to get. We have to get that calmness back into the economy, because that's really how people thrive, is when they know where to fit in the economy, how they're going to go forward, how they fit in their forms of government that are there, and how their governments get along. And so these things have to be. We have to have more stability in those spaces so that people can feel like they have a place to thrive.
Okay. And now you told me the last time that we spoke, I asked you about affirmative action. We see a lot of disruption that is going on. And regarding inflation, consumers are very concerned. Even though the administration said they are putting investments, the U.S. economic is doing very great, but people are not feeling that right now. So you often travel around the country and you do one-on-one with people. What are you hearing from Americans regarding what the Federal Reserve is doing, you and your colleagues?
So I hear repeatedly, if I ask people, what's your number one concern? They tell me inflation. They're worried about prices rising more rapidly than they can keep up. And so while we've had a lot of good news on that front, they want it to keep going. They want more good news on inflation, because ultimately you've got to give people a place where they don't worry about inflation. They can go back to thinking about their careers, their communities, how they're going to manage their lives. And right now, inflation is still the number one concern.
Okay, and people talk about this conference. They've talked about the impact of immigration on the U.S. economic. Is that something that you can comment on? Like, how do you see what is going on again regarding immigration? They said people are saying that it will boost U.S. economy. Is there something that you can comment?
Let's just look at last year. I think I can, I'll talk about the facts, which I mentioned in my speech or my remarks. It's in my speech, which says that last year we had an influx of immigration, and that boosted the U.S. labor force. So that's a positive development for our economy, because we have more workers to do jobs, and it allows wage growth to come down because we are not in such an imbalance between the supply of workers and the demand for workers. So that just happened last year. Now, immigration policy is something that elected officials need to think about, and they're elected by all of us who live here to make those kinds of decisions on our behalf.